Hello everyone and welcome back to the Arctic Retro Computer channel. In this video I'm going to take a look at this one, a Commodore 128. I am pretty sure that the machine is not working as it should. I tested it a while back and it came out with garbled screens, so this might be a repair video then. As you can see, the machine comes in its original box, and although the box has seen better days, we can still hope that the machine actually has some life in it yet. This video is sponsored by PCBWay. PCBWay produces very good quality PCBs at affordable prices. Besides that, they also do services like CNC machining, 3D printing, PCB assembly and advanced PCB. If you are in the need of an already made PCB design, go visit their shared project sites where you can find a lot of high quality PCB designs. Check out PCBWay.com. Sometimes there is a little bit of history on these old boxes. For example, here it says package post 8500 Narvik H. This is Narvik. It's a town even further north than Bodø. And this one, Særpakke forsiktig, that's a product that don't exist anymore, I think. Okay, let's see what we find inside the box. Here we see a nice Commodore 128. I have written a note here, color RAM fault, but that might not be the case, we'll see. Hopefully, if it's just the color RAM that is faulty, then this will be an easy fix. And the box on the side, yeah, there's the power supply. The machine looks very nice and not dirty at all, not yellowed at all, and yeah, all the keys are there. I'm gonna hook it up to my TV now and let's check it out. The C128 is of course the big brother of the Commodore 64, and it shares a lot of the things that the Commodore 64 had, and yeah, although the power supply is a little bit bigger and has this square contact, it is actually the same as the Commodore 64 uses voltage wise. Yeah. There you go, it has some issues with the colors, but besides that it seems to be working. Although it's easy to think that this can be the color RAM. It might not be, it might be ROM related or yeah, even regular RAM problems. Let's test the 64 mode then. Yeah, it's the same issue there, so no, it might indicate even stronger that this is actually the color RAM that's at fault, because it is used in both modes, I think. Now let's run the diagnostics cartridge and see what it comes up with. Nothing. Then the dead test cartridge might work. Nothing. Just a black screen. Oh, there you go. Takes a while for the dead test cartridge to initialize. So there is color issues there as well. This one has a color RAM test, so it will be interesting to see how it turns out. Yeah. There you go, color RAM bad. All right, so now we know how to start fixing this one. Very nice machine, this one. Serial number here, it's made in Western Germany, and it has this label Tanum Karl Johan, which is in the city center of Oslo. And yeah, we can see the old telephone numbers were in use then. Tanum was a bookshop, I think. So I'm gonna open this up now and reveal the motherboard. So that's the cable for the LED and the keyboard. This have been opened before, obviously, because this ground lead was not connected. And here we have this large shield that serves as both the RF shield and the heatsink for the chips. There you go. So that's the motherboard, and it looks alright. Shiny and clean. So now I just need to find the color RAM. I don't remember exactly where it is placed. It is a 2114 chip. Okay, so here I wrongly assumed that it was the same chip for the color RAM as the Commodore 64 has, because the C64 uses 2114 static RAM chip, which is a small chip like this size, and on the Commodore 128 it is actually 6116 CMOS static RAM chip, and it's this one. And that is actually a little bit harder to get. I have to look in my C128 spares box to see if I have one that I can replace this with. If not, I will have to go out and see if I can find one. So the only thing I could find was this Commodore 128D motherboard that I have had for some time. It serves as some spare board or spare parts board for yeah, different computers, mainly 128, and you can see I already removed some chips here. And here is the color RAM. It is KM6816, and it's almost the same. If we take a look at the datasheet, it is 6116 2K times 8-bit high-speed CMOS static RAM. And the chip that is on the other board, it's this one. It's a KM6816, and it also is a 2K times 8-bit CMOS static RAM. So these should be compatible. Alright, I'm heating up the desoldering station, and I'm gonna remove this chip from this old board. Hopefully it is working. I have desoldered all the pins, but this chip is not ready to come off yet. There's still some legs that are stuck to the sides of the hole, so I go over it once more and maybe apply a little bit of extra solder to some of them. Alright, now it is loose on one side and just a little bit stuck on this last pin here. Yeah, that's it, it's loose. So next we need to take out this faulty chip, which is not socketed, so have to desolder that one as well. Yeah, that came loose pretty easily. No trace was lifted, everything looks okay. Alright, ready to solder in a socket. It is time to solder in the socket. So that was the soldering, just a little bit of cleaning up, and then we are good to test. Alright, let's see with a new chip or a new old chip. It is a little bit short legs on this, so it might not sit very well into the socket. That's a problem with removing old chips from old boards. The pins might have been cut off after the soldering. Alright, let's test. Does it fix the issue? Well, not exactly, but is this the same problem? Because now we have all different colors on the border as well. So that was a little bit strange. I actually reseated back the broken chip and tested with that as well, and there was the same issue with distortion, and my thought was something is not correct here with the connection, video connection, or yeah, I actually just took out the board and inserted it again, and what do you know? It works. No issues. So I don't know, maybe there's some bad contact somewhere. I don't like those intermittent errors that it's hard to diagnose. Actually, I think I figured out what was the problem with this distortion. It's not the computer, it is actually the TV. If I change the input source and then back to SCART again, it's fine. So yeah, something with with the TV not properly being able to sync with the picture out of this machine, perhaps. Alright, the machine is fixed, at least this far. I'm gonna test it a bit more after I have finished assembling it. I'm just gonna add a little bit more thermal paste to these two chips, because I see they have very little. The capacitors all look fine, so I'm not gonna do any recapping of this machine this time, but I am gonna do a little bit of cleaning, and yeah, even though it is looking quite nice, there is a little bit of dust, and I'm gonna take it into a soapy bath, at least the plastics. I have run the diagnostics test several times now, and it still comes out as bad, so perhaps that chip I took from the other board is not working 100%. I'm not really sure. I can't see anything wrong with the machine. If I turn it off and take out the cartridge, it comes up as a normal. However, I'm gonna test now to see if there is some color issues by filling the whole screen with some pattern. Gonna start here in the corner, and yeah, I'm gonna use this. Let me see. Yeah, I'll try this one or this one. So if there is an issue with the color RAM, then we should see something on the screen in one or more characters, but it might be some random issue that don't show up. Oh, look at that. Can you see that? Let me zoom in on that. Right there is a character that got pink instead of blue, so it doesn't show like pink on the recording, but it is pink to my eyes at least. Let's see now if any other character is faulty. Nope, no other character has an issue, so that was kind of strange that only one has that. And it's the same in C64 mode. There is one character that gets another color, so yeah, this chip has to go, so I'm actually waiting now for a new chip that I can use. I don't have any more spares. All right, it's been a couple of days now, and I test the machine again, and now suddenly something else is wrong with this color RAM. However, I asked Kjell Ove, the owner of this machine, if he had some spare SRAM, and in fact he had, so he sent me a couple of them here. So yeah, now I'm gonna test out these, and they are probably good. They are unused, so yeah, I guess they work, hopefully. I'm gonna take out this old one, flimsy. You see, it won't even stick to the socket because yeah, the legs are cut short, but this one has long legs, so this should be good to go. Okay, so that's it's very nice. Let's see now. Well, I guess that was not a good chip. That makes me wonder if there is something else wrong with this machine. Let's try the other one then. Unbelievable. I'm gonna run the diagnostics cartridge now to see, this is the dead test. 2 unused static RAMs, none of them works. That's a little bit strange. And the test comes out as color RAM bad. Alright, since I'm all out of SRAM chips, I'm gonna do a final attempt, and it is to use the SRAM from this 128, and this is my own, and it is working. I'm just gonna test it that it turns on and works okay. Yeah, it's working. Just gonna test with the dead test cartridge to see if all the chips comes out okay. Yeah, it came out with the color RAM okay, and the rest of the RAM also okay. This is the inside of my own Commodore 128, and it looks similar. And of course, the color RAM is not in a socket, so I need to take it out of the board. Besides that, there's some differences between this and the other machine. Yeah, this is some ROM. I don't know what it is right now. And there are some budge wires going here and there from different places, which is not present on the other machine. So I don't know if this is some hack or something done by somebody, or if it's original from Commodore. Alright, it's the same procedure. I'm gonna solder out the chip, and I'm gonna solder in a socket. But oh boy, look at this. I guess I never had this board out in the air, and this looks terrible. Yeah, I don't know if it's flux or anything, flux residue. It looks awful, but it's hard. I'm gonna try and clean it off with some IPA and see. It looks like rust, but I don't think it's rust. It's just that the color is rusty. Yeah, that cleaned up very good. So now I can desolder this one. It is. This one came loose pretty easily, so I think that went very well. No issues or damages. And this chip does still have its original long legs, so they have not been cut to be shorter, and yeah, that helps a lot into a socket. So we're back again at Kjell Ove's Commodore, and now we know this chip is working, so I'm gonna insert it into this socket and do it carefully, not to bend any pins. Yeah, I think it went straight in there. So let's test then. I have the dead test cartridge in. So there you go, still color RAM issues, and yeah, then we know we have to take a look at some of the circuitry around this chip perhaps. Maybe there's bad soldering on the socket or anything like that. I'm gonna check it out now. Alright, I found the schematics for the C128 board, and the color RAM is this one, U19, which is a 2016 SRAM chip. And yeah, what's going on with this is that it is connected to the address bus and the data bus, but 4 of the pins are tied high to 5 volts, and the other 4s are connected to this 4066 chip that's labeled U20. So I'm thinking I'm gonna measure now with the oscilloscope and see that we get the correct signals on all pins. Okay, so I have measured the data lines outputs here that goes through this 4066 and to the VIC chip, and they all turn out to be alright. They have good signals on all 4 pins. Also all the 8 data lines, all the 8 address lines are okay. However, I measured here the VE. I'm not really sure what that is for, but there's no signal here, and that comes from this this is a 74 LS74 flip-flop, and yeah, there's nothing out here on pin 9 and nothing on this CLK, which I guess is the clock signal. So I'm gonna show you now. So on the SRAM chip we have yeah, signals where they should be, and if I measure the 74 chip, which is pin 9 and 11, there's pin 9 and it is tied to ground, and 11, where the clock should be, seems to be just a steady 4 volt signal, so that doesn't seem to be correct. Alright, I have done a bunch of checking with the oscilloscope, and yeah, I have actually checked all the input and outputs on the SRAM, and actually on pin 21, which is this write enable, there's no signal. So that's a little bit strange, and then I have traced that one back to, yeah, here's the write enable signal on the SRAM chip, and it is triggered by this output on this U56 flip-flop chip, which takes an input from the PLA chip actually. And on this input pin 12 on this flip-flop there is no signal, it's just steady high all the time. So there is no write enabled triggering on the static RAM here. Alright, so I am rambling about a little bit here now because I changed my mind actually after thinking a little bit about it, and also reading a little bit how the color RAM and yeah, the static RAM work. However, I did some more measurements, and I really thought I actually checked out these 4 lines D0 to D3 before, and they looked alright, but actually they don't. I checked again, and let's see now. So here's the schematics again, and here you can see that D1 is pin 10 on the static RAM, and that one goes directly to pin 45 on the VIC chip. So let's measure those 2 points. There should be activity on the pins 9, 10, 11 and 13. So if we try that now, there's normal activity. Pin 10. Pin 11 looks like that, so that looks kind of healthy, but if I check pin 10, it's a lot worse. It's like some highs now and then there's a lot of these smaller spikes up until 1 volt, and just before I measured and there was no activity at all, except for those small spikes, and yeah, so I think maybe there's something wrong with that line. So just to rule out that it's not something simple, like something is bad connection or anything with this VIC chip, I'm gonna take it out and clean the socket. And let that work for a few minutes. So I cleaned the socket and the chip, and that didn't help. Now I have inserted another VIC chip that I have a spare one. Not really sure if it works or not, but I'm gonna test that, see if it's any difference. Nope. Still the same, color errors. Okay, so this is getting maybe a little bit boring, but I still have to search for a default, and what else can it be? We know the VIC chip is alright, the SRAM chip is probably alright. This part here is probably alright, no issues there. But we have this 4066 chip at the U20, and that one is actually responsible for toggling the the address line of the color RAM to the bus, and yeah, there is a little bit of noise in the signals around that. I also measured the 4066, and the signals are very noisy, so I am thinking maybe there's something there, and I should try and replace that chip. Alright, I took out the 4066 and I soldered in a socket, of course, and now I'm gonna test with actually another 4066, a new one. Fingers crossed again. Nope, no change at all. So this is a hard one. Alright, I have tried several things. I have switched out different chips, and still this fault is there, and I'm not really sure how to proceed on with this. I already used a lot of time, and yeah, you know, sometimes projects don't go as you planned, and yeah, something you think might be an easy thing is actually more difficult and requires yeah, more time to diagnose and fix. So I am actually throwing in the towel for now and calling this part 1. However, I am asking you, my viewers, if you have any ideas here how to proceed, and what might be the cause of this fault by what you have seen in this video, then give me a comment below the video, and I promise I'll send a gift to the one that comes with a solution. So that might be a fun thing. The first one that has a valid solution that results in a fix, and I decide is the correct winner, will win the prize then. So that was it for this video. Hopefully this machine can get fixed sometime later. for now it's over, and I just want to say thanks for watching, and a special thanks to my patrons over at patreon.com. See you, bye bye.